Go.
Okay. I guess we'll start with roll call to see who's here. Tim McCarty? Chief Kersey?
So Chief Kersey is bouncing back and forth between the select board and here. He said he was going to call in, but depending on when he's actually speaking at the other meeting, so he may pop in a moment.
All right. Linda?
Here.
Thank you. Eric Peterson?
He's calling in. He just texted me a few minutes ago, so he should be here any moment.
Okay. Mike Amandalia? Moritz? Moritz, is that you?
No, it's Eric.
Eric? Okay, good. Thank you. And JP?
Present.
Very good. So we have a quorum. All right. We will start with the script as we normally do, since we've done the roll call for attendance. We will call the meeting to order at 7:02. As a preliminary matter, this is Joe Cronin, Chairman of the Mendon Police Station Building Committee. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. We have gone through the committee. Mary, are you out there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much. Castle Booze?
Both Pete and Dave McKinley are supposed to be joining us.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. Is there anybody else out there listening in who may be speaking? All right. If anyone should join during the meeting, please pause all discussion so I can determine the name and affiliation of the joining member. Don, I will pass it over to you.
Yeah, I just shot a note over to Pete and Dave. Okay. So good evening. This open meeting of the Mendon Police Station Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth from the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Governor's order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting on the Town of Mendon website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will allow public comment. For this meeting, the Mendon Police Station Building Committee is convened by, Microsoft Teams, video conference, and telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. And I do want to point out that the meeting is being taped and it's being recorded and will be available for later use sometime in the future. Back to you, Joe.
John, thank you very much. All right, the meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, as the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will invite committee members to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. And please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, as we've done in the past, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Everybody all set? Does anybody have any questions? All right. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from last Wednesday, May 13th. John sent those around late last week. I assume that everyone has had a chance to read through them.
So I move to accept the meeting minutes from May 13th, 2020.
Second.
Second.
Matt?
Right. Who wants to do all the seconds today? We'll take a vote. Who wants to do the seconder today? Was
I'll
that
do the second.
Eric?
Yep.
All right.
Eric, he was in the gap.
Eric likes that.
All right. Do we have any comments or questions on the meeting minutes? All right. We will do the roll call vote. Don?
Aye.
Steve Kersey? Linda?
Aye.
Thank you. Eric?
Aye.
JP?
Sorry, what? Aye.
Thank you. All right. Now we will move on to open action items on the decisions and action log. Don, you put an awful lot of time into the sequence of events for the granite curbing, so if you would like to lead us through that.
Yeah, just, I think Pete is out there now. Correct, Pete? Pete, are you online? We can't hear you. He just sent me a note saying he's on the line, but Pete? Maybe you'll need to call back in. So last week when Pete gave his update, he had dropped off before I went through just a sequence of events for how we got to where we are with the granite curbing. He went back and had Dave McKinley do a more exhaustive summary than I put together. So I've compiled all that information in a packet. I sent it out to each of you through email, and I posted the entire packet on the town website along with the meeting agenda. So basically it summarizes the entire timeline of events for the granite curbing and how we got to where we are today. And today that was reviewed with Kessel Booz, Mary, and Tower, and everybody's in alignment on the sequence of events. Pete, did you just join again?
Yes,
We can hear you. Excellent. Is Dave
I've been on
McKinley?
since the beginning.
Okay, just couldn't hear you.
Yeah, no problem.
And Dave?
Dave McKinley's here as well. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so Dave put this exhaustive summary together, basically just aligning us on how we got to where we are today. There's a separate agenda topic later on under architect update on how to proceed from here. So maybe we just wait till their update and we can go from there.
That sounds fine to me. Okay. Later in the project, we have installation of the rings and the storyboard with the historical commission, furniture options, salvaging the LED lighting. So we don't need to talk about that right now. Mary, we'll move on to the OPM update.
Okay, so it's been a couple days since we met. Site work is continuing. We're fortunate that we've had the whole parking lot to ourselves and some good weather finally. We did measure, Patrick and I measured the large rocks together, and 3 of them will be payable to the contractor. I had spoken to Dan Byer before. We didn't have any luck. He wanted those large boulders to be transported down to the town beach to prevent people from parking in certain areas. The contractor will load them in a truck if the town or anybody has a truck, you know. Otherwise, they'll get rid of them or leave them on site for Ann, whatever they want. At this point, Ann said she would like to have all the rocks that are left over. There's a number of rocks from the original excavation at Shelley's wall there. So we're going to stockpile those all to the side. They want to incorporate them into the future campus plan.
That's great.
Yeah. Ann and Kathy Schofield were on site today. And didn't go in the building, obviously, but walked them around the outside and let them get a feel for it because they're applying for grants for different things. Second of all, just to bring to the attention, I just want it documented in the minutes that there was an oil spill today on site. It was not from the contractor. It was from a private delivery to the existing police station. When I arrived on site, 3 men were managing it. And I just want to bring it up because you are pretty close to the wellhead in that area. So if anything shows up in the wellhead, it should be documented. I don't know what the level was. I called Lee right away. He wasn't on site because he's an LSP. But it's up to the delivery driver to know if that's a recordable event or not. So that's up to Chief Kersey. Evidently, they had a spill, and we heard that there may be a broken pipe also. So they were sweeping up and bagging into plastic bags and doing what they had to do.
Was that heating oil,
So
Mary?
Pardon me?
Was that heating oil?
It was domestic oil.
Good.
Yep.
Do we know who
So
was the
just-
company making the delivery?
I could tell you what truck was parked there, but there were 2 trucks, so I don't know. One was Arcudi and one was Delaney. I believe the
Yeah.
second was Delaney.
They're
Yeah,
both the
so
same
that's
company. Delaney owns Arcudi.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep.
So I don't know. I wasn't involved in the spill. I showed up. I could smell it, and I questioned it, and they were taking care of it. So I just want it noted in case something shows up in the well, because they test that well 4 times a year, and the police station is
Thank
definitely
you.
within the buffer. Yep. Thirdly, and final, Laura received a call today from excitable gentleman claiming that he hadn't been paid by Tower. I did a little research. We have certified payrolls. Tower subbed out the siding to Northeast Contracting, and we have certified payrolls from them. Evidently, they had a sub that Lee and I actually questioned. That sub was removed from site, and now they're claiming they weren't paid the prevailing wage rate. So I bounced it back to Tower. Tower was aware of the situation and has already put Northeast on notice. They are not a filed sub, so I really can't help them. If they were filed sub, they could file for demand for direct payment. I asked the gentleman if he had a contract he could show me, or if he had, any sort of I-9 for his payment that had a tax ID for the company. We didn't seem to have any backup, so I will call him back tomorrow and let him know that I notified Tower, and that Tower was already aware of the situation. I mean, technically, he's supposed to go to the Inspector General if he wasn't paid. And they will do the investigation. And if the contractor didn't pay them prevailing wage, they will have to pay it. The town did everything they're supposed to do. We have certified payrolls as backup.
Okay, good, thank you.
So that's
So
where we're
Mary,
with
just-
that.
I'm sorry, this is Don. Just
Yep.
for clarity, you said Northeast Contracting?
No, it's Northeast. I'm not sure if it's Northeast Contracting. So they were the siding contractor.
Siding. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and evidently they supplemented their forces, which isn't unusual, with a sub
Yep.
who reports and looks like the original sub. But evidently the sub did not get paid. And that's not up to us. The gentleman was complaining that, they complained about our work or whatnot, so that's their deal. That's not us. If they terminate them for poor quality, which that's their problem.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mary?
No, just one other thing. If anybody sees a large crane in the parking lot, it might be gone by now. A gentleman driving down the road with a large crane lost a tire right in front of the building, was able to pull into the lot to get off the road because that's a bad intersection. Wait for his tire company to come. So he's supposed to be gone tonight.
I think I saw him on the road leaving.
So good. Yeah, I felt bad for him. He had a bad day. He was actually the same crane that installed the fire cistern for us.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, at least he knew where he was then.
Yeah,
All right, anything else, Mary? Are you all set?
I'm all set.
Thank you. Pete?
Yes, first item is the update on R5105 water pressure in the new building. That issue is ongoing. They're hoping to get in the building this week, and then find out if there is an issue or not. Second item is the update on COP number 59, site grading, along with the cost for soil testing. David?
Yeah. Basically, we responded to a letter from Tower. The general conditions at the front basically state that Tower is not responsible for checking to make sure that the drawings are accurate, or I should say conformance of codes and whatnot. So we do believe that they are owed some money for making the change. The letter also stated at the back end that we thought the amount of money they were charging was exorbitant, considering the fact that the first number they sent us included all of the curb, half of which had been installed incorrectly by the contractor. So we wrote back saying, yeah, okay, we owe you some money, but the amount of money you're asking for is not correct. So what Tower is going to do, I believe, and Peter can back me up on this, is since they did it on time and materials, they're going to find out exactly how much time it really did take to remove and set the curb prior to coming back with the number. Is that correct, Peter?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So-
it's all stated better and more clearly in my letter, but I don't have my letter in front of me. I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's an ongoing process then?
I
Yes.
believe, they have, as far as I know, I haven't been on the site in the last couple of days, but it's an ongoing process. But of course, they have installed the curb, and I believe they have poured the sidewalk too. So
No,
they're moving forward.
sidewalks are not poured.
Oh, sidewalks aren't poured? Okay.
No, not yet.
The curb has been reinstalled?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So it's an
So
ongoing process in terms of what the number is going to be. So, yes.
That's what I was referring to, actually. David, thank you.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
So the soil, sorry, David. So the soil testing we talked about with Patrick on site today, and he feels that he is only responsible for 800 yards, and you have to test every 200 yards of material. So that's four tests at $235 per test. And he was going to confirm that with his site guy.
Peter, what about the tests that failed and that had to be redone? Does that include those 4 tests? Because if any of them failed, then they should not be paid by the owner.
This was for on-site material that had to be mixed.
Okay.
Some of those failed tests were Lee's double checking. He didn't have confidence in the material and the test that the contractor supplied. And remember, I told you that he was right. They weren't doing the same type of sieve analysis. They weren't doing a wet. So some of that was actually protecting the owner by doing that type of test. But we can look into the additional failed ones, because you're right. We shouldn't pay for those.
So Mary, this is Don. I thought in the past you told us that those weren't on the bills, right? That they were removed and given to Tower and they paid them. That's what we were told in the past.
That's what I need to double check, because I did have bills sent directly to them.
Okay, so the action is just verified that in fact took place.
Correct. Except for the one where Lee questioned them and he was right. Their test was faulty. Not faulty, it wasn't done by what the specification required. Testing agency did a different procedure.
Wasn't there also one that we put on a change order to not pay Tower?
Yes. Yeah, there was one that got sent over, and then there was a $90 no-show or not ready fee that we made Tower pay also.
Okay, so
That
what
was
I'll
one
do
of
is
the-
I'll just capture an action for you, Mary, just to confirm that any of those failed tests, as what Dave asked, were in fact passed over to Tower.
Yep.
Okay. So
Okay.
this protocol needs a little bit more work between KBA and Tower.
And I need to talk to Lee too and see why they failed, because when Lee sent the report over what he felt they owed, he didn't bring that to my attention.
Okay, our next item is to
So-
confirm that the sleeve, sorry, Don.
Pete, no, just so everyone's on the same page. So the expectation is Tower will coming back with a revised change order proposal that'll contain time and materials for the actual work done to remove the granite, remove and reinstall the granite curbing. And they'll also take ownership for 4 of the Civ and Proctor testing that they believe they are responsible for, which was 4 tests at $235 a piece for a total of $940 that they'll take off as well. So we'll work that with Tower. With that, our expectation we'll get one change order proposal with all that stuff rolled up. Correct?
No, actually, Patrick is going to submit a separate COP
Okay.
for the Civ and Proctor testing.
Okay. So but they'll both get closed. They'll be on different change order proposals. Thank you.
Correct. So our next item is the sleeve for the headstone for the low voltage lighting. Today, Patrick said he's going to make sure that gets installed tomorrow. So I cannot confirm it, but hopefully Patrick comes through. The item after that is to confirm the stone wall out front meets the specifications. I don't know if you guys got the packet or not that had the email from Patrick showing the detail and picture of
Yes.
the tossed stone wall.
Yes, I
Stone wall,
forwarded-
should say.
I forwarded that out. It's in the packet for today's meeting.
Don, did you share the pictures that we were able to find pre-construction also?
The pictures that you sent over the weekend, I don't think I did. Mary did find some
Okay.
pictures that Lee took back in the spring of 19, I believe.
And Tower took some pictures also. So I
Of-
gave you both. I sent you 2 emails, one from Tower and one from Lee. Because Lee's were cut.
This is Chief Kersey. Hello?
Don, you sent out the one
I did?
with Tower's photo on it, yes.
Okay. I did something I didn't realize I did. Okay, thank you.
When was that one sent? I'm sorry.
That was sent today at 11:34.
Oh, well, that's a photo from the drawings.
Right, but the photo above it,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the link. Got it. I'm sorry. So who took who? This is who are these photos from?
The photos just an example. Sorry, this is Dave McKinley.
That's from
Photos
Tower.
just an example. Are you talking about the one that's attached to the detail, or are you talking about the photos for the site?
Talking about the photos. It looks like the Tower sent, I guess, right?
Oh, okay, in that case, it's not that. The photo on the detail is just a typical tossed stone well.
Yeah, understood.
okay.
So I just forwarded out the photos that Mary was referring to that Lee had taken back in March of 2019 of the stone wall that used to exist between the town hall campus and the abutters land. Just for information.
David had asked Shelley for photos too, if he had any.
So let me ask a question. What's the talk? What do we need to discuss here? So last week we had concerns raised by the committee that the stone wall wasn't sure what the specifications said and whether the stone wall met the specifications. So David McKinley is online. He reviewed the specifications. He issued a statement saying that they comply with the specifications. So I'm just wondering what's the next discussion we need to do.
I think the discussion was there was some concern that the existing conditions of the original wall that was reused, there was questions that it was a different stone, that it wasn't what we were reusing. But these stones had been stockpiled in the back, this whole project. And they do look different than Shelley's front wall. They're not dressed the same. They're a little different. They've been filled in and buried over time with all the fill around the town hall. So we went back and looked for photos to make sure that the right stones were reused and that stones hadn't left site. So we just want to make sure that everybody agrees with that.
Thank you for clarifying. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Mary.
I didn't see your email come through. It was probably too big. Did you send them both together?
Oh, I didn't send it back to you because you sent it to me. I didn't know you wanted another
Oh, okay.
20 meg
Oh,
file
no,
back. I sent it to the committee. It's 17
Okay,
meg.
that's perfect. Just what, yeah, I know. Well, the first time it was too big, so I had to separate it and send it in two emails.
Yeah, that's what I sent. I sent the 17 meg one.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it either, Don. I know I've got it in my archives from the other day.
Yeah. JP,
All right,
did
so
you
what
get
do
it?
we need
Yeah.
Okay.
up there? It is.
Yeah, I mean, just my 2 cents. I did find through the University of Connecticut something called the Stonewall Initiative, which seems to have a pretty good definition of all the different types of New England stone walls. One of which is the tossed wall or thrown walls, has several different names. And there's a description of, that it's just stones placed on another, typically a cross section is a triangular shape. So I mean, obviously that is a term, that tossed wall, as I'm sure everybody knows. So it's really a matter of interpretation of, and I think Tower's position is, well, we used the stones that we were given, so that's just what they are. They didn't have other smaller stones to fill in as you might have in this kind of wall, I guess. So I don't know. All we can do is take, I guess just we need to take the engineer's position on this, I suppose.
I mean, the wall looked exactly like the diagram. If you looked at the diagram,
correct. Yes,
the wall
it does.
was
You're right.
exactly the same. I think maybe where the miscommunication might have been in some of the drawings, like the renderings of the building, maybe in the beginning, there was a picture, the computer just picks up and makes a stone wall and makes a nice finished stone wall. So maybe that's what we have in mind. That's what we're getting. If you go by and and look at it.
Someone else has an opinion about that, I guess.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really disagreement with the opinion.
And look what was there then. I mean, it is what it is. I've had to build stone walls with, with what you have to work with. You got what you got to work with, and that's what you have. So, and those rocks, I mean, they were pretty dirty, but I mean, rocks, that site was small and everything was piled up on top of them. I'm sure they were buried in the back corner with some
Yeah.
of those big piles, you know, when they were trying to get that screener set up going and whatnot, so.
Yeah, they still own washing them, and they're not finished around the light, a lot around the signpost. And I can say Kathy Schofield and Ann Mazar were on site today, and they're excited to continue that detail across over by the existing library, hopefully as part of their campus. So, you know, I agree with you, Eric. You're more of a perfectionist and, you know, has a mason, but this is what was called for.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it was, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, if you look at those pictures too, the detail in those diagrams, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we got with some detail.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of what you'd see in the woods lined up.
Hey, Mary, can you hear me?
I think from our point,
Yep.
once the wall gets cleaned up, it'll look a little bit nicer too.
Yeah, maybe so.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Chief Kersey?
Yep.
Okay, so I talked to Shelley. Shelley does have pictures. He also said that once the tower gets up and leaves, it's something we can look at ourselves. If we're not happy with the way the wall is, he has patinaed stone way back in some of his properties and stuff that we could change the wall out later ourselves with stuff that is aged and patinaed and has the blue colors and the squares and the granite. So that's always an option down the road for us. I imagine it'd be cheaper to do that later on.
Yeah, and there are some tricks that contractors use to get these mossy and patinaed sometimes too.
Okay,
As long as
so
you guys are happy.
at this point, it sounds like we're happy with the architect/engineer's recommendation.
Yep.
Okay, the next item, we finally got the backup today for the requisition for the flooring contractor.
Yep, confirmed, and also got the schedule. So I dropped the payment, request for payment off late this afternoon. I'm not sure if the check will go out this week because normally they want it early in the day on Monday, but everything is in and submitted for payment.
Okay,
Okay, change order 13 is still in a draft state. We only have the $2,000 for the concrete foundation that got removed out front at Main Street. Patrick hopefully will get together the 3 boulders you said, Mary, that were over 2 cubic yards.
Yes, 3. One of them is just over. So
Okay.
there's 3 total.
Yeah, and so then if he gets the soil testing credit back to the owner, that can go on there as well. And then hopefully the granite curb grade issue as well, he can get that revised. So we'll have 4 CLPs.
okay. Pete, there was also an email from Don about looking into the sprinkler system.
Yeah, so Patrick said that the water is shut off to the building and water is shut off at the cistern.
Okay.
So did the select board say yay or nay to opening up the interior?
Mr. Chairman, you ready to go to the next agenda?
I am, Don, yes, thank you.
Okay, so select board at 6:30 today, basically, I questioned them, hey, you know, about the new update, new direction from the governor. The governor has opened up construction with new safety standards in place. So they said, we're not going to argue with the governor. We adopt the new safety standards for the governor. You're free to go. So what we need to do is review and approve a construction change directive to allow work to proceed inside the building. So I received a couple of drafts from KBA this afternoon. I sent one out late, very late, 6:13 p.m. A revised one that I received from Pete, and I took I sent some comments back and forth with Pete. So the only thing on this construction change directive is it basically says that based on the revised information issued May 18, 2020, the building interior portion of the project will continue. This proposal timeline is to June 19th, 23 working days. And then the 5/18/2020 COVID-19 safety standards guidelines shall be followed. So the only recommendation I would like to reword slightly, if I may, would be that I did have a discussion with the town administrator and town council last week in anticipation of this happening. And they just wanted to make it clear that not only that the safety standards are going to be followed, but the general contractor is responsible for ensuring that the safety standards are followed. So I'll just send you a quick response, Pete, to make it clear that we're basically holding the contractor responsible to comply with the May 18th, 2020 safety standards. That's it.
Okay.
And we're allowing them time, and the ownership of the costs will be determined later, much like we did for the CCD number 3, which allowed them to do the site work. The select board wasn't prepared to pay for all the costs, but they're agreeing to let the contractor proceed. They can gather their time and materials, and then when the time comes, we can discuss who owns what. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so do we have any questions on that? Do we have a motion?
So I move to accept construction change directive number 5 with the just the notation that we're going to specifically state that it's a general contractor who's responsible for ensuring that the safety standards of May 18, 2020 are followed.
Second.
Do we have any comments or questions on it, in addition to what Don has explained to us? All right, seeing that there aren't any, we will do a roll call vote for approval. Don?
Aye.
Steve Kersey?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
JP?
Aye.
Okay, so we put that. Pete, when can you get those changes made to that?
I'll do it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Don, I won't be able to sign that until tomorrow night for you.
Let me see if I can, Pete, is it okay if I try to just edit that one little tweak on that? I think I might be able to, and get that to Joe this evening and send it back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me see if I can try to do that, Joe, and just make sure that it's clear that, I'm sorry?
If you could do that, that would be great.
Yeah, so let's you and I just, after this meeting, let's align and get that done.
Okay. All right, so that takes care of the select board direction. Items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours prior to the meeting. Do we have anything else that we need to review or discuss? All right. Next meeting date, time, and agenda. We had bumped it to Monday of this week because of the governor's announcement, so we could take advantage of that. For next week, would you prefer to do Monday or Wednesday?
Monday's a holiday.
So next Wednesday it is, I guess, then.
The only thing is, I know Mike is not here, but I don't know if the FinCom is continuing to meet every Wednesday. He's missed the last couple. It's up to you. I don't know why he's not here tonight, But that would be the only other. Make sure people are available Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
Does anybody have a preference for Tuesday night or Wednesday night?
Wednesday would be better for me, please.
I'm sorry, JP?
Wednesday would be better for me, please.
Okay. Anybody else?
I can do either.
Wednesday's it's actually better for me too. So, but I just know that it's a conflict for Mike, so I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
What date
long
are we
this
talking
is
here?
going.
Are we talking the 26th and 27th?
27, yeah.
Yeah, because 26th is Blackstone's town meeting. I can't make it.
It sounds like Wednesday. Okay.
Do we want to go back to 6 p.m.?
My vote would be for 7, but whatever is better.
6:30?
6:30 is okay.
Sure.
This is Linda. I have a ongoing class at 7:30, just so you know. I would have to log out early if we ran over.
So sounds like 6:30 is the happy compromise.
All right, we'll shoot for 6:30
Thank you.
on May 27th. And Pete, hopefully you'll have 2 change proposals for us for the soils and the granite curbing, and then potentially roll them all up into change order number 13. Actually, 3 change proposals. You'll also have the boulders too.
Boulders, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Eric?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very
Second.
much.
Who seconded?
Thank you, JP.
Me, JP.
Excellent.
All right, everybody, please be safe. Enjoy your Memorial Day holiday, and we will talk to you a week from Wednesday at 6:30.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
John?
Yeah.
You want to just shoot it over to me in an email real quick? I'll sign and get it right back to you.
Yeah, the only other thing I can do, if you notice, the signature is on the second page. I can easily piece them back together if I'm not able to edit. Give me like 5 minutes to see if I can make the edit. And if not, just sign this one. And it's easy for us to make, because they're 2 separate pages. It's easy for you to, we can tweak it first thing in the morning and with your signature, either way. Okay?
If you want, I can just sign the second page right now for you and send that to you.
Actually, can just give me 5 minutes. How's that? Let me just see if I can. And if not, I will send you a quick text.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I will do that. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.